Hello there, my beautiful Gemini signs. This is Rachel with Dark Knight Coaching. So today's video is a traditional Celtic cross spread. That's kind of what I always pull in my cards because I am Celtic. I have Celtic origin in my blood. I have Celtic hair as well. So I tap into your energy using the Celtic cross spread, which is usually about 10 cards. But sometimes I pull extra cards depending on your energy here, Gemini, and I did pull a couple bonus cards for you because there's a lot that's happening and shifting for you at this time and generally for the collective overall. So grab a cup of tea, grab a cup of coffee or whatever you're drinking, or nothing. I don't care. I don't want to tell you what to do, but settle in because it's kind of a little bit of a bumpy ride today. And after I do the tarot, I'm going to pull a bunch of oracle cards for you that are just added messages from your guides and from spirit to help you align to your highest best self, your highest best timeline. So if something in this message resonates, smash that like button. It helps my channel grow and I greatly appreciate it. I wasn't really guided to a particular song today, but you do have the devil card here in your subconscious energy. So something about the devil went down to Georgia. That might be significant. Something about Georgia. I also just saw something about Colombiana. I don't know what that is or who that is or whatever it is, but that might be a message that's specific for somebody. Yeah. So anyways, all right, Gemini. So your current vibe, your current energy here is the 10 of Wands. There's some baggage from the past you're carrying, and I have Butterfingers, so that might be maybe a Butterfinger candy bar is significant. I don't know. Like sometimes I get weird messages that way that doesn't resonate with me, but it might resonate with you. So keep that in mind. But yeah, 10 of Wands is your current vibe. This is about baggage, burdens from the past, kind of holding on to stuff that you should be maybe letting go of at this time. And your challenge here is temperance. It's finding this temperance is all about finding patience and balance with yourself and creating this harmony of your 3D life and your 5D spiritual access. And it's also tied to like your emotions and timing and things not exactly happening when you want them to, but when you kind of need them to. This is a Sagittarian card, and I'm a Sun Sagittarius, but I personally hate this card. Like temperance is I'm not great with patience just because I'm a fire sign and we're always like ready to roll. And this at this time, your challenge right now, Gemini, is to find patience and harmony and balance within yourself and to try to find some peace with the past, because the foundation of your situation is this 5 of Cups energy. So you're definitely looking into the past a little bit too much. This is a card about regret and remorse. So when we get into looking into the past too much, it creates regret and it creates remorse. And then when we look into the future too much, it creates anxiety. So I feel like if you're having a blend of those things, or it ebbs and flows with that, it's like you might be leaning one way too much and you might be leaning one way too much as well. So the challenge here with temperance is basically to be in the here and the now, and that's not always easy when you're trying to heal. And it doesn't grief is not linear. It's a spiral. So you're going to heal little bits at a time, and you're going to feel like you're over it, and you feel like you finally got over the hump of trauma or pain or heartbreak or whatever it is that you're going through, because we all have trauma. Like there's no shame in that. But you'll feel like you're done, and you feel like you'll heal those wounds, and then something will come along at some point and trigger you. And that's kind of just how that unfortunately works. Now, before I got on your reading, when I tap in, I did get some sort of like chest energy, some tight energy there. So if some of you have been experiencing like chest pain, make sure you go to a physician. I'm not a medical, I have a medical background, but I'm not a medical, you can't use me as a reference. So if you feel like you need to get checked out, go get checked out and help yourself. Like, I can't tell you what to do medically, but I can sometimes feel I'm like a medical medium in ways. I can sometimes feel your pain or the collective pain, and I can tap into certain energies. It's kind of a gift from spirit when you have psychic abilities or mediumship abilities. And sometimes I can feel the anxiety or the pain or the chest things. And I'm also feeling like, I don't know, a lot of jaw tension at this time. Some of you might have TMJ, or you might need to get that checked out, or maybe you're carrying all of your stress and anxiety in your jaw at this time, because I did not have jaw or ear issues right before I got on this reading. So this is just a very significant message for somebody out there. And if that's you, and if it's resonating, please smash the like button, because it just sends me a little bit of validation that I'm on the right track here. Now, the past energy you have is the Empress energy. This is a card of fertility. It's a card of motheringness. It is also a card of divine feminine. This could be like maybe you're healing those things, that divine feminine. Maybe you have had a loss when it comes to fertility or those issues. Those are rough things to go through. It's a process to mourn and grieve something that maybe didn't come to fruition completely. And there's no book for grief. There's no real method for grieving. It's just something you have to go through on your own in ways. Unfortunately, sometimes you can find camaraderie in groups and networks and those sorts of things, but no one's ever walked a mile in your shoes, and so it's hard to it can be hard for people to relate. But for others of you, this might just be about like healing your mother wounds and those sort of things, and really accessing this divine feminine energy from a healed space. Now, in your present vibe, you have the Knight of Swords. The Knights are usually offers of love, or it's an offer of something coming in very fast. So for some of you, it could be a friendship. It could be it could just be something familiar from the past, like you've had an opportunity before, and it doesn't have to necessarily be love, but it could just be like I feel like this is a repeat pattern, another test for you that Spirit is putting you through to see if you've really done the change in the healing and the growth, or if you're going to make the same decisions over again. And again, this could be work, this could be family or friendship, and just like establishing boundaries or something. This doesn't have to be love, but for some of you it is love. But it's a test to see if you're willing to compromise yourself. Now, in your near future here, you have the Seven of Swords. This is, and you have 2 sevens as well, so make sure you check out the angel number. But this is a card of kind of like escapism. So maybe you've been leading into bad patterns, bad habits in order to run away from whatever it is you're feeling, because the devil's in your subconscious. So this is like the devil's tied to ego, it's tied to addictions, it's tied to behavioral patterns that aren't really serving you. And I do feel like you know what this is innately, and you know what you're doing, Gemini. It's just like that's your coping mechanism. But Spirit is really trying to get you to pick something else. Like that's it. It's as simple as I can say it. Choose something else that's maybe a little less harming to yourself, because when you do harm yourself in whatever ways that is, it could be gambling, it could be food, it could be physical, I suppose. In those ways, even if it doesn't seem like it does harm other people, because nobody wants to really see you hurting yourself or damaging yourself in those ways. And there are other avenues that you can do to try to express yourself. And I do feel like you're going to have to figure out how to channel your energy in a positive way that's going to help you and potentially help somebody else in the process. So take that as it resonates, Gemini. Now, what's your power and control in this situation? If you feel a bit powerless or helpless, your control and your power is standing up for yourself, your morals, your ethics, your values, your belief systems. It's having boundaries and holding those boundaries despite how people perceive you or how they view you. And how they view you and perceive you is the moon. And I pulled a clarifier for this because I was like, what did they mean? And you have the Knight of Swords. So people perceive you as maybe a little bit illusory or maybe escapist. They can't really get a clear grasp on what it is you're wanting or what your intentions are, but that's really nobody's business. Maybe they think you're just like in an insomniac and trapped in your head and trapped in your thoughts and in this analysis paralysis mode, but they don't really see clearly what it is you have to offer. And that's okay. And they don't have to. But you need to know yourself, Gemini, and what's good for you. And I do feel like you know that at this time. Now, in your hopes and fears here, Gemini, you have the 8 of Wands. This is a swift moving card. This is all about action and communication. So something is going to be happening for you pretty fast, or you're going to be pretty quippy when it comes to communicating your values and beliefs and things and standing up for yourself. I just feel like this is a positive thing, but you might be a little bit afraid if you've never really done that sort of thing before. If you're empathic and you're watching this video, which you probably are, sometimes it's very hard for us to stand up for ourselves when we are only familiar with the mode of like people pleasing. And empathy can be just as toxic as narcissism. Nobody likes to hear that part, but it's true, because when you over give and when you try to please people, it's you're getting something from it, and it's not in a good way. It's not in a healthy way, and it's the same thing. It's like opposite sides of the same coin when it comes to empathy and narcissism. There needs to be a fine line and a fine balance in there, and we all have personality traits of both. We all carry those. That's just how the duality of humanness works at this time. Now, in your potential outcome here, Gemini, you have the Seven of Cups. This is a card of manifestations. This is a card of options. Some people call this like the prayer card or the wish card. So whatever you're trying to choose tangibly, I do feel like there's going to be a choice you're making here when it comes to whatever this situation is. This is a very broad centered message. So again, take that as it resonates. And energy is fluid. So if this message isn't resonating for you, it might be someone in your energetic field or someone you're dealing with. Because that does sometimes entangle with us. It's quantum entanglement, literally. So that might be a message for you, Gemini. But that's what I have for you when it comes to tarot. If you're interested in the oracle cards, make sure you stay put, and I will pull a bunch of cards and see what Spirit has to say for you, just to kind of tie this message together and help you align to your highest best self and your highest best timeline. Wow. Okay. Well, you did pull the solar plexus card, which is nice to see in ways, because the solar plexus, I feel, is tied to our willpower, but it's also tied to our empathetic and our narcissistic centers, because it's kind of our personality zone where we have built our ego in a way. So there's a facade that someone was leading with or running with, and maybe it's a facet of yourself that wasn't very true as well, Gemini. It could be your energy, but I do feel like there was someone in your energy that was very fake and very deceitful and very much so living in a narcissistic space of and when you're in that narcissistic energy, you're basing your decisions on self-serving tendencies. I don't know how to describe it, but basically narcissists usually have no sense of self, so they latch on to somebody else and they try to suck and siphon, like an energy vampire, the personality traits and features that people find attractive, and they almost mimic all the good parts of you back to yourself. So it almost it's an illusion, and it's a facade. It almost appears like one of those like clown mirrors where like you're in the reflection, but it doesn't look like you. But it's hard to perceive the mirror in a certain way when you feel like it should refract differently. So it's kind of hard to explain, but you only really know if you've been through a narcissistic relationship. So the next card I have is your dreams need a practical plan, new moon in Taurus. So again, I think this is tied to these options. You have choices, you have options. How are you going to get there? Slow and steady builds the race. It's going to require patience and balance and harmony for you to move forward and to make your dreams come true. And you are going to have to stand up for yourself and your belief systems and your values if you really want to shift. Now, the next card I have for you is light. It says, weave your spells by the light of the stars and listen to your inner voice. Now, when it comes to witchcraft and spelling and those things, I don't think of spells as witchy things. I think of spells as spelling. I think of it as your energy and how you express yourself, because words are spelling, it makes up words. Spells are words. Words are our spells that we cast. Words are our thoughts and our ideas, and that is energetic vibration, and it is scientifically proven to be a certain frequency. If you look up the study on Dr. Emoto's water crystals, the snow structure, I forget what it's called, but basically it's about our thoughts and our words impacting water on a molecular level. And I do feel like at this time your words are very important, and what you're saying about yourself and how you're thinking and feeling about yourself are going to reflect right back at you in your environment. So make sure you're very cautious when it comes to that. Now, you did have the I am protected card here. So I do feel like you're aligning and elevating and going through an enlightenment and spiritual process. Usually when you're a chosen one, you are protected, but a chosen one can be anyone. A chosen one is usually just someone who has gone through an enlightenment period and is really aligned with their soul's mission and soul's purpose. And usually you'll have like intuitive blasts of claircognizance or your supernatural abilities, and that's gonna let you know like you are on the right path, you're on the right trajectory. And usually those are the most creative types of people, like Elton John, Taylor Swift. Sometimes once you've gone through an enlightenment period, you can really pinpoint the people who are aligned and enlightened as well, because they have a lot of they get a lot of clout, but they also have a lot of following, and it's not all the time. Sometimes there's just people who are enlightened that never garner a huge following, but usually there's a law of attraction when it comes to that, because they're radiating at the most authentic and highest level, and that's going to draw people into you. Now, you also have the poised card. This is number 48. So remain poised in a situation. If you know and you're learning and you're like, oh, I understand now all of this trauma, all of this baggage. I understand my mother wounds. I understand my father wounds. I want to help people. Great. That's cool. Also, just be poised in knowing not everyone's going to meet you at the same level and the same timeline that you're on. You're probably, if you're a chosen one and you're protected, you're probably on a pretty fast trajectory. And sometimes people have no idea what language you're speaking when you start talking about spiritual things or energetic things. And you're going to be sounding a little crazy because they can only meet you at the same level for which they've met themselves. And unfortunately, a lot of people are perfectly content being stuck in the matrix and being a cog in the wheel for the rest of their time here. And that's just not their path. So make sure you're being poised and respectful of that. The next card I have for you, Gemini, is from my third eye intuition deck. It says identify. Think back to the last time you faced a situation like this, and how did you deal with it then? And will that approach work now? And again, I feel like that is tied to that devil energy. Like, are you going to lean into bad habits, or are you going to try something new? Are you going to choose one of these many, many options that you have to see what else happens, or see how you can maybe change the potential outcome? Now, the next card I have is from my Power of Love deck. It says cooperation. In your quest to manifest the energy of love, you realize that every person and experience has value. If you're wise, you can find the lesson and the blessing in everything. It's not always easy. And it requires temperance. And just an understanding that people are here for purpose and reason, even if you can't see it. It's just sometimes you need to know that. Now, you have also the archetype card, the stone. I think of this card as like the sword and the stone. I don't know why, but I do. Now, the sword is usually like a sword of truth and morality, and the stone is like maybe feeling stuck between a rock and a hard place, like literally being the stone. So maybe you felt like you had to make a certain choice that you didn't really want to make, but there was no other way to go. And that's probably why you're in this like escapism energy, where it's like, you're kind of like darned if you do and darned if you don't. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that's shifting for you as you elevate, though. So you're not going to be stuck forever, but it is kind of a temporary feeling that you're experiencing. Now, the I Ching card I have for you, Gemini, is number 19. It says, the greater spirit draws near in an ongoing process of growth as you simultaneously pay attention and take responsibility. Harvest happens during the 8th month, but it isn't the end of the process of growth. So stay present to the ongoing cycle and do not Only focus on results. How does this want to grow? And how can you take responsibility for its development? And what would your greater self do? Now, this is number 19, nearing. It says, creating success from the source, constancy bears fruit, and arrival at the 8th month means a pitfall. Now, something about August could be significant. Right now, when I'm recording this reading, we are in the harvest moon time, so that is a significant time as well. This is a north node eclipse in Pisces, I believe, that's happening. So something about Pisces in your chart might be important at this time, Gemini, so make sure you check that out, or wherever that falls, or you're dealing with a Pisces, or your emotions are just really heightened at this time because of all of this that's going on for you. And collectively, there's a lot of major shifts happening, and a lot of healing that's been going on ever since the COVID era, basically. So be easy on yourself, remain poised, remain grateful, try to stay in an attitude of gratitude, and you're doing it. You're doing the darn thing, Gemini. Lots of good stuff to come. So thanks for watching this video. If it does resonate, again, please smash that like button. It helps my channel grow. I greatly appreciate it. If you're interested in a one-on-one coaching session, I do trauma healing, dating, lifestyle coaching, spirituality coaching. I also do tarot readings and that sort of thing as well. So if you're interested in that, please feel free to reach out and I will help you there. But thank you so much for being here, and thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.